Seatbelt malfunction. Welcome to the Q2.
Good afternoon, everybody. Saturday afternoon stream, couldn't do one yesterday afternoon. Been wanting to kind of go through this interview with the ant with everybody. Very interesting. It's going to be one of those triggering episodes. So whenever we do listen to the ant interview with Kate Does Crime, amazing job. It could possibly trigger, so I just want to send that warning out. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Memorial Day in a couple days. But yeah, we'll be going through some of the new updates that came out through the week and the last few days. We'll be checking out that Ants interview. I'll be back later tonight. We'll be talking Idaho 4 and Coburger. I kind of want to go through the timeline, get all that stuff figured out. Open panel, great discussions, always great discussions. So we'll be doing that later tonight, and then probably end the show with a little bit of games. But definitely need to cover that, get that Google timeline down. I got some screenshots and timestamps and all sorts of stuff beyond the PCA, so we'll be going through all that. We'll put all our brains together and we'll figure the shit out. So sorry about the notification of only like an hour and a half. I was actually going to try and do the show earlier. Time was different, so I had to readjust. So I apologize for the late notification. So I appreciate everybody showing up. Usually when I do the notifications that quick, a lot of people don't get them. So, yeah. But I couldn't do it any later because we're going to be talking Idaho 4 after that. So really, I'm only going to have like a half an hour break in between this show and tonight's show. So I had to make it for 3. But I definitely wanted to share this interview with the ant with everybody. Because I think it's going to really kind of just put more into focus of what the hell's taking place. I still got to go through Henryetta Beth's interview. I was not able to do that today either. Things came up. So I'll probably be doing that tomorrow. And then I'll hopefully have some kind of highlights and clips coming out through the week. I might kind of separate them all out, like one a day or something. I'll put out there one a day from the show, beyond whatever other highlights I make. So I'll be doing that starting Monday. So I plan on going through that tomorrow. Starting Monday, I'll start dropping highlight clips from that episode. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in. Hit the like if you haven't yet. It's the free way to help, and we always appreciate it, and I do too. Damn, Kevin. Sorry about the bust, man. Yeah, get some rest. I'd love to have you on tonight when we're talking Idaho 4, buddy. Kib Kitty, what's up? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dre. I appreciate you hanging out and listening. Got a sub to Grizz. Oh, yeah, holidays. What's up, Jinx? Jinx is such a blessing to YouTube. Not only to all the creators she supports, but just to YouTube. Not only the way that you support the creators, Jinx, but what it shows others. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got, like You're thinking of like the Mount Rushmore of NBA players and shit. Jinx is the Magic Johnson. And then everybody sits back in awe and says, "Whoa, that's how it's supposed to be done." SRB on the Mount Rushmore of mods. You guys are amazing. I just want to say I appreciate you. Yeah. All right, so let me open up panel. We're going to go through some of the updates first. And then I'll go ahead and when we get into the interview with the aunt, like I said, it might be triggering. So there's some things she talks about. But it definitely needs to be heard and talked about. So there's the link. I'll go ahead and put the sign in the window. And then we'll get into this episode. I'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, for Idaho 4. Depending on how long this episode takes, I might have to push it back just a skosh. But I think 7 or 6:30 actually. Yeah, because I think I'm gonna try and keep. That's right. Because we're gonna try and do games at the end also. So I had to get on a little earlier since we're talking Idaho 4 tonight. There's a lot of stuff to go into. There's a lot of stuff to get into tonight, especially we got to get that Google shit down. What's up, Astro from space? Yes, it was the last minute, quote, hour and a half notification. But I didn't get to do my stream yesterday, so I was like, you know what? I got to do it this afternoon. Because we've been talking so much Idaho 4. And we got Idaho 4 tonight, so trust me. There's just so much, and it's probably going to be that way for a while. So, who knows? I might get on tomorrow afternoon too. You never know. But I need to go through that Henryetta Beth though. So if anybody wants to help me out, well, I'm gonna be doing an offline StreamYard where we're sitting back listening to the episode. It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and kind of help me if you'd like to help me figure out what to put out, what not, what to save. More than welcome. Just let me know. Hit me up with a message. All right, let me check the breaking. You're more than welcome to hop up. Let's see if we got anything out there right now. I've been staying on it all day. I really haven't seen too much, really, with a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything new still. Crazy stuff we went over last night with Idaho 4, and we're gonna be going over some of those interviews or shows, clips, whatever, again tonight. Just some crazy information. I got screenshots we're gonna go over. There's just a lot of stuff to talk about, so it'll probably be a pretty decently long stream tonight as well. That's why I had to make everything what I made it for. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Jinx. Yes, it has, Pam. Isn't that true? Like, seriously, I mean, I do have some new updates, but it's not a whole bunch. And I have a feeling it's because OSBI is doing it the right way, and it's probably for a reason. Because it's, like I said before, it's like a mixture. It's like a mixture of Delphi and frickin' Steven Smith cover up. It's crazy. Aw. We love you too. Yeah, it's like the community fucking cover up of fucking Delphi and like the LE Barney Fife shit from the Stephen Smith case. It's like a mixture of it. It's horrible. And then you add the fucking all the child shit into it, man. What the hell? But I totally understand if they're quiet, you know. It's probably for a reason. What's up, Silky? Silky, I wanted to say, uh, anytime you want me on your show, I don't even care if it's a night that I'm supposed to have a show. Like, I will be on your show. I would love to be your guest anytime, even if it's a night that just give me a couple days heads up, and then that way I can let everybody know in the previous couple shows that, hey, I'm gonna be on Silky's channel on this night at this time. So even if it's a night that I'm supposed to be live, I'm there. So you just let me know, Silky. I'd love to be your guest anytime. One of the best channels on YouTube. The personality, the the kindness, the dedication, the passion, but that personality. One of the best on YouTube. Appreciate you, Silky. All right, I'm not seeing nothing on the breaking. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the folder. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet, but you gotta expect that, and just hope that the right thing's being done. And I don't know. I've heard some decent things. You know what I'm saying about OSBI. Not a lot of negative stuff, so I have a good feeling. It's now how deep it is and how long this shit could take. Yeah, go to Delphi. I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's gonna. I have a feeling it's gonna turn into one of those. What do you guys think? You think it's gonna become a Delphi? I think it is, and I think it's. I think it's gonna be worse than Delphi. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot worse. I know, Silky, the EView MUX that you were using, uh, that I'm telling you, like that the production, the smoothness, the transition, how everything worked out for you. Uh, Bravo, because it was a great live in all different ways. Like I don't know how much you're considering using that, uh, but I thought it worked out wonderful for you. What a great live, everybody. Seriously, if you haven't checked it out, I will get you the link to the actual live that we're talking about so you can have a direct link. So whether you're watching on live or in a replay, you can click over to it and watch it. It was a great topic, great discussion, full of information. Uh, just an amazing. Silky, it was your best live. It was your best live. What's up, Ray Jones? What's up, Duckin? How you doing? Yeah, Jinx. Yeah, Jinx. I think it's going to be worse than Delphi, seriously. I really do. I really do. All right, so let's get into the folder here. Yes, Silky, amazing job. Appreciate you. Let me share that one first. Give me 1 second. Let's go to Silky's live and share that. It was not just even just the information, the clips from other creators. Like it was just, I mean, so much information all rolled up into one. And you know what, Silky? I wish that I could do my shows. I wish I could get the information out as good as you do. Let me share this real quick. So, this is the live that we're talking about. Yes, it was a great show. There's the link for it. Silky, I'm telling you, the eView, I've even, like, with how wonderful it worked out for you, I'm considering, seriously, I'm considering switching over to that. You know, I pay for the StreamYard and to have all the stuff for you guys. So, and I would literally be like, you know what? If like I really want to check it out again, and I'm considering using that, uh, and then I would just cancel StreamYard and switch the funds over to I don't even know how you pronounce it. EV Mix, EV Mux. However you pronounce it. EVMUX. Here, here's Silky. Share that real quick. That's such, oh my gosh, that picture is just so creepy. So creepy. eView, here, let me just do the website and you can see what I'm talking about, because I might start using this shit. I did check it out before, and it seemed like it had more options than StreamYard, but for some reason I went with StreamYard, and I'm not sure why. But this is EVMUX. Maybe try closing it out. EVMUX. Yeah, check it out. I'll be checking it out. It's one of the things I have planned coming up. Without the drama, you mean? Oh, bam. I appreciate you so much. All right, we're going to get into some of these updates here. And then we're going to check out this interview. It was a great episode. Kate Does Crime did this about, I think it was like a week and a half ago. Trying to think. I think it was like a week and a half ago. Oh, was it 3? No, hold on. Is it not up there anymore? Hold on one second. Oh, no, it is. Okay. It's just not in the title. 7 days ago is when it was, when they had the discussion. So I will give everybody a heads up before we go into the graphic stuff, because some of it is graphics. So no, we appreciate you, because it's because of you all. You know, I'm only one person, you know what I'm saying? But together, with the energy and the atmosphere that you guys bring and contribute, that's what allows all of that to take place. So I appreciate you. And when everybody does that collectively and we work towards the peace and positive and progress, when we do have some of the carbon dioxide that comes in from time to time, you know, the oxygen is so strong and the atmosphere is so strong that the oxygen just kind of gets squeezed out into the outer space. Back out. The solar flares, right? Right? The show is Earth. You guys are the magnetic force field, and you guys are the ones that block the solar flares. Now, sometimes those solar flares come in and we get the aurora lights. But they dissipate, go away, and fade off. Right. A little bit from time to time. Uh-oh. What are you guys going to be talking about? Let me know, Silky. And if anybody wants to hop up, you're more than welcome. Silky, if you're not busy, hop up. I know you want to talk about some of this stuff. I would love to hear what you have to say on this shit. And you're from the area, not necessarily Oklahoma, but from the region. You know what I'm saying? So you might be able to shed a little bit more light on it as well when it comes to the traditions down there, the norms and all that. That's weird. It saved that's two different videos. Well, there's a few updates. We got a few videos here. And I don't know if this is connected yet, but this came across, so I was like, let me check that out. Let me see here. New interviews. That's the one that I'm talking about. Kate Does Crime. Now, I think these videos that are coming up, it's kind of like a lot of PR control, it sounds like, but I haven't really checked them out. Yeah, I haven't checked out any of them. I'm just looking at the headlines, but we found out headlines, especially with some of these, this ain't national news. This is more local, so I think we'll be cool. But I don't know. Some of these national news have been reckless lately. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you hanging out at work. How's your day going, Silky? We'll be talking Idaho 4 tonight, too. All right. So we're going to get into the first one. Okmulgee County Sheriff explains compliance check requirements for SOs following Okmulgee crime. This was from 3 days ago. News 9 YouTube. It must be somebody I'm not subscribed to.
Oklahoma's sex offenders, sheriff's offices conduct checks on those considered lifetime offenders.
And a man accused in a mass murder-suicide in Henryetta was one of those. Tonight, News 9's Angelicia Bruton talks with the Okmulgee County Sheriff for insight into those checks. Angelicia?
Is this PR control?
Carl and Amanda, Okmulgee County Sheriff Eddie Rice says his department is responsible for keeping up with around 50 sex offenders, and compliance checks have their own regulations. Once a sex offender leaves the custody of the Department of Corrections, it falls on the sheriff's office to do compliance checks on offenders like Jesse McFadden.
We'll request to go in to make sure that they actually live there, that maybe, we would like to see a bill with their name on it, things like that.
McFadden served 17 years of his 20-year sentence for raping an underage girl. The DOC says he was a level 4 when he was released from prison.
With each of these levels come credits. Credits a day. So 1 credit equals 1 day of their sentence that can be reduced. Level 3 is 33, level 4 is 44.
Despite being a lifetime sex offender, the Okmulgee County Sheriff says McFadden didn't have to let deputies inside his home for the required checks.
The individuals have to consent to everything because we have no jurisdiction of a crime
that's ridiculous right there.
We have a crime that's been committed, basically.
Sheriff Rice says a compliance check isn't the same as a search warrant. It only confirms residency.
If they don't show us the basics that they are living there, then we're going to submit to the DA of a non-compliance.
Investigators believe McFadden shot and killed his wife and 3 children, along with 2 girls who were spending the weekend with the family. According to the law, Registered sex offenders are allowed to live with their own children and stepchildren as long as they are not a victim of the offender. We're still waiting on the sheriff's office to send us records of McFadden's compliance checks. In the studio, Angelicia Bruton, Oklahoma Zone, News 9.
Tracking Oklahoma's
You gotta be shitting me. I want to share something real quick since, they went into all that BS right there that is allowed. The law needs to change. Here, let me zoom it back again. Law needs to change. Oh, shoot. I think YouTube's going to cut that off. Is it? Might be too long. No, we're good. Yeah, there's the link. How does this only have... This is crazy. How does this only have 3,700 freaking signatures? How does it only have 3773? That don't make sense. You don't have to donate. That if you don't feel like donating, you can literally share it to somewhere on social media. How does this only have 3,700 signatures? Start a petition of my own. That might be in the works one day. Oh no, all this weird ass shit, man. And then we talked to Suzanne Andrews. She came on the show on a game night a few weeks ago, and she was talking about the experience she had. And it's like, damn, our politicians are even treating people like this. Maybe I need to do some fucking political shit one day. I might do a fucking petition about something. That's fucked up, though. The shit that was in this. How is this shit allowed? That's what I don't get. We'll get back. I'm going to play it again. This is crazy.
Sex offenders, sheriff's office.
How is this allowed?
Checks on those considered lifetime offenders.
PR.
A man accused
It's
in a
PR
mass
control.
Murder-suicide in Henryetta was one of those. Tonight, News 9's Angelicia Bruton talks with the Okmulgee County Sheriff for insight into those checks. Angelicia?
Man.
Carl and Amanda, Okmulgee County Sheriff Eddie Rice says his department is responsible for keeping up with around 50 sex offenders, and compliance checks have their own regulations.
Oh, they had to let you know how many. 50. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Especially when all you have to do is fucking show up. How about quit talking to Billy about the fucking NBA championship or some shit and go fucking check up on some of these fucking people. 50.
Once a
Oh
sex
my
offender leaves the
gosh.
custody of the Department of Corrections, it falls on the sheriff's office to do compliance checks on offenders like Jesse McFadden.
We'll request to go in to make sure that they actually live there, that maybe, we want it.
Hold on, I'm gonna put the closed captioning up on this shit. This is from the sheriff's office.
Sheriff's office to do compliance checks on offenders like Jesse McFadden.
We'll request to go in to make sure that they actually live there, that maybe, we would like to see a bill with their name on it, things like that.
McFadden.
They check to see if there's a... Can we have your latest electric bill, please, sir? What the fuck? See, like, I do my fucking Idaho forest shit, Damn, I'm 43 fucking minutes in this shit, and I'm already getting fucking pissed off at what the fuck.
McFadden served 17 years of his 20-year sentence. McFadden served 17 years of his 20-year sentence for raping an underage girl. The DOC says he was a level 4.
Can we have
when he
your
was
electric
released from
bill, sir?
prison.
With each of these levels come credits. A credit's a day, so one credit equals 1 day of their sentence that can be reduced. Level 3 is 33, level 4 is 44.
Despite being a lifetime sex offender, the Okmulgee County Sheriff says McFadden didn't have to let deputies inside his home for the required checks.
The individuals have to consent to everything because we have no jurisdiction of a crime that has been committed until we have a crime that's been committed, basically.
Sheriff Rice says a compliance check isn't the same as
Crimes were committed, bro. That's why the motherfucker sat in prison. And when he sat in prison, there was more crimes. What the fuck are you talking about? He already committed the fucking crimes. That's the fucking reason. What the fuck? Especially when there's children in the fucking house. It's one thing if dude's living on his own eating Lunchables all fucking day. But when there's children in the fucking house, that's not a fucking reason. The crimes that were already committed is not a fucking reason. The fact that he committed the same fucking crimes in prison that got him into prison in the first place isn't a fucking reason. I don't know what to fucking say. And this whole fucking credit system, I get it. I think it needs to be revamped, because if this dude can do what he did in fucking prison after getting in prison and he can get out early,
offender, the Okmulgee County Sheriff says McFadden didn't have to let deputies inside his home for the required checks.
The individuals have to consent to everything because we have no jurisdiction of a crime that has been committed until we have a crime that's been committed, basically.
Sheriff Rice says a compliance check isn't the same as a search warrant. It only confirms residency.
If they don't show us the basics that they are living there, then we're going to submit to the DA of a non-compliance.
Investigators believe McFadden shot and killed his wife and 3 children, along with 2 girls who were spending the weekend with the family. According to the law, registered sex offenders are allowed to live with their own children and stepchildren as long...
I'm saying, this is what I'm saying, Duncan. The dude committed the fucking crimes to get him into prison. He committed the same type of crimes, similar, while he was in fucking prison. The dude got out early, and there's no wellness checks on the fucking residence where he's living with fucking children. I don't give a fuck. That to me should be a fucking reason, especially when you're that should be a fucking reason to show up, not only to make sure you're working where you're working, to make sure that you're living where you're living, and to make sure that the home is a safe environment for the fucking children. That should come with fucking being released as an SO. Because I've always said it before. When you desire apples your whole fucking life and somebody's telling you, forcing you to desire rehabilitated oranges, I'm sorry. I don't think you're going to fucking keep desiring rehabilitated oranges. I think you're going to still go for fucking apples. That's just my opinion. So to me, I think a wellness check, I mean, I don't know. These fucking laws. Oh, sorry, Duckin. I'm sorry. This shit just got me so mad. It really does. I'm sorry. This shit just got me so mad. Oh my God.
As long as they are not a victim of the offender.
We're still waiting on the sheriff's office to send us
This is our children, man.
records of McFadden's compliance checks. In the studio, Angelicia Bruton, Oklahoma's own.
That is so not fair to them. It's so not fair to the fucking children. It's fucked up. Shit needs to change. These laws gotta change, man. So fucked up. Okay, News Nation. Come on, let's keep the information the same as the title.
We're starting to learn about the checking system, like how the authorities check on a dangerous sex offender who's released back into society. You better pour a drink for this. Jesse McFadden was required to check in every 90 days. Okay. That sounds pretty good. I'd be happy with that.
Exactly,
but see the
Doctor.
top line there? Self-check-ins. Self-check-ins. He did them. He himself came to the sheriff's department in June.
So these were the dates that he did self-check-ins. I'm going to save that real quick. Wow.
June and September, December, March. March was just a couple months ago, 2023. That's him going to them, not them going to his dungeon with all those restraints and filthy things and sex toys and, chains on the kitchen counter connected, like drilled into the kitchen counter, like computers everywhere. Sheriffs apparently didn't have to go there. This is what's just so maddening. This is a habitual and aggravated sex offender. And KFOR, our affiliate, discovered that these self-check-ins happened on those 4 dates. And during those visits, this is what the deputies would have to confirm. Your mailing address, physical address and phone number, Department of Corrections ID number, all occupants at the home address, all vehicles that you drive, and your current employment. But you rely on the offender, a felon, a child rapist, to give you all that stuff. Did he really tell them who the occupants were at his home? Oh, I just married a girl with 3 teenagers.
Oh, they knew.
According to the records,
Banfield, they knew that he was marrying a lady with children. They knew the times that she would show up with the children on visits. The lady that signed the marriage certificate as a witness also knew, because she's the one that set everything up with the SO shit and the visits. They knew, Ashley.
One of the home visits, June 24th of last year, we're not sure if it was because of a complaint, but it's the same stuff. Just,
I didn't say he was.
tell us your basic, mailing address and vehicles and employment. Here's what's the craziest.
Nobody even said he was, Perry. Not any of the clips or nobody in the show.
The sheriffs, if they come to the home, are not legally
But
allowed
probably,
to enter the home
yeah.
if he says they can.
Probably
And
they
if
would
they
have
are
if he
welcomed
was.
into the home, they're not allowed to enter into rooms if doors are closed. What? What's the actual point here?
They're not allowed to. This is a wellness check for fucking children. This is crazy.
Vehicles and
No, but I agree with you. They would have if he was, but I don't think he was. This is crazy. Like, they can't even go through. So you could literally have like a fucking dungeon, and if the door's shut, this is a wellness check. Wow. Oh, wow.
employment. Here's what's the craziest. The sheriffs, if they come to the home, are not legally allowed to enter the home if he says they can. And if they are welcomed into the home, they're not allowed to enter into rooms if doors are closed. What? What's the actual point here? What's a sex offender going to want to show you in the bedrooms that have, restraints?
Right.
There was a second call, a complaint-like call. An anonymous female called in January of this year, expressing concern that McFadden was living with 3 underage kids. But since those kids were not his previous victims, there was no follow-up check. This is where I bring in Phil Waters. He's a retired homicide detective, spent 33 years in law enforcement, investigating more than 400 homicide cases. Get me off the ledge, Phil, if it's even possible.
Well, thanks for having me back, Ashley. But I will tell you, I think I'm on the ledge with you on this one. It's always disturbing. Wow. And for me, I have a personal interest in this particular case. I was raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, about an hour north of Henryetta. So I'm familiar with the area. And I'll tell you, this is one of these cases that there is such a failure with just the system itself. When I listen to you talk about these checks and these random checks and these where he's coming in and saying, hey, yeah, I'm still around and I'm at the place I told you I was last time. And when they go to the house, there's a barrier in the law that allows them to really do a proper check commensurate with his particular registration as a sex offender. So all I can tell you is that this is just an example of a tremendous failure of the system in trying to protect the criminal. And it's heartbreaking now that we know what the results are of this particular.
I have to be honest, Phil, I was really gently surprised to see, well, good. They had 4 quarterly checks, June, September, December, March. So he was keeping on track with the 90-day check-ins. But to hear that the system allows for, look, in your business that sex offenders are some of the most manipulative people.
Yeah.
And they allow them just to come on into the sheriff's department and let us know you're doing okay.
Right.
They don't check the home for any evidence that there might be recidivist crime happening.
That's what I'm saying.
Is this a
like a fucking welfare check because because of the crimes? Like, what the fuck? No, Jinx. The previous victims, there's interviews. You should check out some of the other shows sometime on replay where there's a couple of the victims that the reason why he was incarcerated and the reason why he was going back to court on the day that all of this shit went down, or the day they found out all this shit went down, I should say. But these victims was his wife, her 3 children, and 2 of the friends that they had over for a slumber party. There was a lot more children that were invited, but a lot of them did not go. Wow, crazy. That's what I'm saying. Welfare check. Why you're incarcerated for the crimes? Like, this is our children, man. I don't understand this. This should be automatic. You know? Here's my latest electric bill. No, you can't come in. And then you're just, okay, sir. I don't know. I don't get it. Something. Maybe that's how they have the laws in that county or in that area or something, because of all the shit that they're involved in. You know? You better vote for this, otherwise we know that you're not with the agenda. I don't know. It's weird shit, man.
A resources issue, or is this just laziness, or could it be both?
Well, I think they're operating within the scope of the law. I do not know if the,
it's
law,
the law
is in Oklahoma,
right?
Related to the
or the county
for registered sex offenders. So
it could be a county thing
too. Looking at this and what you have already detailed here about some of the restrictions, it seems to me that the Oklahoma legislature needs to get on the ball here and make some real drastic changes involving these particular violators.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find news.
Shit just don't make no sense. See, it's like, it's all like PR shit. It's like PR shit. So these are the compliance checks. Then we'll have one more video after this. And then we'll be getting into that interview. It'll be a part 1. We're going to do like half of it this afternoon. And then we're going to do the other half on another evening with some updates. So we'll be doing part 1 of the ant and then part 2 coming up probably early next. Actually, I'll probably do it either tomorrow or Monday in the afternoon, but we might do an evening one. I'll probably maybe tomorrow night. We'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll see what you guys want.
From the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office show sex offender compliance checks over the past year at the home where Jesse McFadden lived. McFadden is accused of killing 6 people and himself. This is several years after being released from prison where he served time for rape. Bobby Miller explains what they
It don't make no damn sense. These are our children.
McFadden was a lifetime sex offender, meaning the sheriff's office was required to verify his address every 90 days. These records show McFadden filed an address verification form on May 25th of 2022. This was for an address on Holly Road in Henryetta. After that, the sheriff's office conducted required checks every 3 months. These were in June.
I need to get that paperwork. If anybody has it, send it to me, please.
September and December of 2022, and then again in March of 2023. A radio log from January 29th of this year shows an anonymous.
What does it say? stating that they are all living at that residence. That's it.
9th of this year shows an anonymous caller reported children in the home. That log shows the deputy who responded noted the children belonged to Holly Guess. That was McFadden's fiance. Now, registered sex offenders are allowed to live with their own children and stepchildren as long as they are not their victims. Another radio log shows someone called on May 1st to report they had not heard from their niece and her 3 children for several days. May 1st is the same day authorities found McFadden, Holly Guess.
Yeah, his brother's. Yeah. He's yeah, and he was around the time when Jesse got out, Jinx. So you know.
Yes. Holly's 3 children and 2 teen girls, Brittany Brewer and Ivy Webster, dead on their property in Henryetta. We'll continue to follow the story. Amanda?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
New documents from the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office show sex offender compliance checks over the past year at the home where Jesse McFadden.
He's from there, and he even fumbles it like me. Okmulgee? I got it down pretty good, though. Okmulgee. I got it down pretty good. Okay, so this is looking into his past. We already know his past. Yeah, we covered Chad in one of the episodes, Jinx. Like, dude. Yeah. One of the interviews of Jesse, one of the victims' interviews of Jesse, even discussed it was actually her stepsister or her sister who was the victim in that crime, Jinx, and she was kind of describing even more of what was going down with all that. Yeah, it was we covered this thing a lot. We covered this thing a lot, but we've been doing a lot of Idaho 4 lately. Oh, it's all good. Yeah, it's pretty deep. At least it wouldn't be a long playlist, but I know my shows are crazy long, but man, there's always information. And I'm sorry, I'm still. Yeah, this is crazy. So looking into his past. And then we're going to go into that interview. And if anybody wants to hop up, you're more than welcome. We're just going to be sitting back, commentating on what the aunt has to say and listening. And we'll be splitting it up. And then we'll do a part 2 coming up here the next day or 2. Idaho 4 tonight. Definitely need you guys on that if you'd like.
Also, we're continuing to follow up on the murders-suicide out of Henryetta.
5 children.
Going to be trying to go over the timeline and trying to make this shit make sense, because to me, the timeline just don't make sense, and I don't know. If you ain't got the sheath, you ain't using the DNA. If you're not using the sheath, it's touch DNA anyway. The cell phone pings, or you know what those are. They're not very reliable. Then you got the fucking the video surveillance being in 2 different places at the same time, 2:44 in the time. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know. It just don't make sense. So I need the brain stew tonight if you got it. Then we'll be doing some games after that. But we'll be coming up in between 6:30 and 7 Central tonight. We'll be talking Idaho 4 for quite a bit. Going into some more of the crazy shit we went over last night. And then we'll be playing some games after that.
Children and a mother lost their lives 3 weeks ago. Officials say
What's
convicted
up,
sex offender Jesse McFadden killed all 6 of them, then pulled the trigger on himself. News 4's Kaylee Olivas has been looking through his past.
4 90-day self-check-ins, and 1 home compliance
shit's
check.
crazy.
Now, the reasoning behind this was to only verify where Jesse McFadden lived, who he lived with, and his employment.
We've had a monster.
James Page is a pastor in Henryetta. He was also with the Webster family in News 4 as we walk through Jesse McFadden's home 3 weeks.
The job and the whole world's going to know it.
What would this accomplish?
And you've got this little thing in people's minds, oh, but it was no harm. No, it wasn't no harm.
Right.
There's 7 dead people.
Right.
It was a big harm.
Yeah.
So now he, along with the wondering how we got to this.
Plus all the other harm from all the other victims. You know, they did find the fucking Polaroids, the binders, like who knows of the, you know, there was a whole bunch of kids invited that didn't show up. Were they victims? Like, who were the victims in the Polaroids? You can tell the Polaroids were those kind of Polaroids from the way the aunt responded to him when she was interviewed about him. She damn near broke down. Thank God she's talking to somebody now. Banfield pushing her for information fucking as soon as she like literally damn near fucking mentally broke down on fucking camera just at the flash of a second from the image of the Polaroids when she was talking. She's talking to somebody now, so but man, what's up, Butterfly?
This point, convicted sex offender Jesse McFadden had been living in Okmulgee County for at least 11 months. The State Department of Corrections says McFadden wasn't on probation, but as a, quote, habitual and aggravated sex offender, he was required to self-check in with the sheriff's office every 3 months. There were 4 conducted, and he was compliant. The self-check is to merely provide basic information. And then there's the home compliance check. Off camera, Okmulgee County Sheriff Eddie Rice says those are only done if a complaint is filed. One was done in June of 2022. But he says they did not go inside McFadden's home, adding sex offenders still have rights. If deputies are not given permission to go in, there's essentially nothing they can do. The DOC tells News 4 there are 0 state requirements when it comes to home compliance checks.
And an unchecked sin, an unchecked evil, an unchecked misconduct that grows, and sin becomes bigger, and sin festers, and sin becomes a monster.
This has now left a community of 6,000 to pick up the pieces.
We're a good town. We've got good people. And what happened here is extremely out of the ordinary.
Kaylee Olivas, Oklahoma's News 4.
Now, a complaint was called into the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office in January. It was anonymous and expressed concern over McFadden living with those children.
Well, the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office says all they did was verify McFadden.
Yeah, there was a lot of fucking complaints, not just one. Maybe there was one anonymous, but there was like 9 people reaching out, telling them, the local fucking LE, who the fuck this guy was, the fact that he was living with children, his crimes committed prior and incarceration. Can we have your latest electric bill, sir? The fuck, man? Those poor children, you know, they rely on the laws and the adults to protect them. And this is the shit that gets allowed. Law needs to change. All right, so we're going to switch to the Kate Does Crime video. Just give me 1 second. This will be part 1 because we're going to split it up. What's up, Tech Debt? We're going to split it up and then we're going to get on for Idaho 4 after a short break. So this is going to be, let me see here, 1 second. So this was an episode that Kate, here I'll share the channel real quick. that Kate Does Crime did. Great channel. Great information. Great conversation. She has a lot of other people up on panel, other creators as well. This is just a wonderful group that does an amazing job. You can tell how much they care, the respect that they have for the cases that they cover, and just an amazing job from this channel and all the other creators and individuals that participate on this channel. Really cool logo too. Okay, so this interview is about, let me see here. So it's about 3.5 hours long. We're going to be doing an hour and a half this afternoon, and then we'll do a part 2, the rest the next hour and a half on the next show that we're going to do on Henryetta in the next couple days with some updates and some conversation. And so that'll be another show coming up. So we'll go ahead and get into this one. And this is, if you want to go to it, I'll put the link in chat as well. And we'll go ahead and check it out. Now, by the way, it is going to be graphic content, so let me put that up there real quick.
There you are. Did you accidentally leave?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Can you see the chat now?
No, I can't. That's
I mean, I can share messages on the screen if anyone has like questions.
Yeah. Okay, here you go.
Lynn
Hold on
said
just a second. I'm gonna step off for just a minute. Hold on just a second, okay?
All right, so I'll tell y'all about Keely Olivia's while we're waiting. I think
Some things up because I really have a few things I want to clear up.
yeah, go for it.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
So she wanted to say that she's first wanted to, because it won't let me go back just a couple seconds, and I don't want to have you guys have to listen to 20 or 30 seconds to get to it. But she's basically saying that she wanted to hop on to go ahead and have a discussion, but she also wanted to clear a lot of stuff up. Now, there's been some issues between Ivy's dad and the aunt when it comes to, and I think it's just from confusion, because he kind of disputes some of the evidence that she claims that she recovered. Like when it comes to the clothing that had red stuff on it, he states he never saw none of that. But you got to remember, she stated that it came from under a floorboard. So who knows how everything, the fact is that this stuff was recovered. This stuff was given to Ellie or shown, you know what I'm saying? So it was there, not to say this wasn't there and this wasn't there. But I think it's just, maybe some people looked in some areas and didn't, there's a lot of shit that you walk into, you know what I'm saying? Your mind's, and maybe there was a part that you didn't go through yourself. Who knows? That's not us for to determine because we weren't there. And I don't know what other kind of stuff she's going to talk about. I haven't really been in tune with all that. I just know a little bit about what was taking place before.
Just wanted to say thank you for that.
Of course.
And I think the first thing I want to clear up is the thing going around that I somehow was hiding evidence and did not want to turn evidence over. And that is so far from the truth. The first day when I discovered the first 5 cell phones, I didn't want to turn them over to Henryetta Police Department. I wanted to give them to the Webster's lawyer or their private investigator. I will not deny that.
I don't blame you, though. I think a lot of people in that position probably would have been afraid to give
didn't want to take the restraints I found. They didn't want
Yeah.
to take the drugs I found. So I'm supposed to entrust them. And anyone that doesn't believe I turned them in, I had to, not only did I, but the godmother and the godmother's daughter, we had to fill out paperwork describing where we found them, how they got outside, how they got in the trunk, and how they went from the trunk to the car. We had to write it all out. All for the paperwork. It's all there in black and white. We wrote it down.
Yeah.
And that's so people and family members that are saying that I didn't, that's not true. I did not want to give them to Henryetta, but I was willing and wanting to give them to the lawyer or the private investigator.
Which I think is a reasonable. I mean, even after that, how they treated Justin too, like acting like, oh well, what do you want out of this? Like they didn't even seem like they really cared. So I probably would have been the same way, and I think a lot of people would have been like that too had they been in that situation and seen.
I would even like to talk to Justin. I thought he had a lot of interesting things to say, and I feel like he was probably one of the people that was actually, he was reaching out multiple times. Like he was on that shit. I don't know why he's getting a bad rap. I think he was trying to help out as much as he could.
How they just were acting,
But a lot of people don't realize we were all sitting at the hotel lobby in the restaurant. We were planning a funeral and the landlord calls and he was like, this is on Friday. You have until Sunday to get everything out. There is going to be a dumpster delivered Sunday and anything left in the house Monday is going in the trash. Well, Jan couldn't do it. She just couldn't. She wasn't even there yet. So the godmother and the godmother's daughter said, look, we'll take the rental car and we'll get everything we can. And what we were going for was pictures, a stuffed animal that they wanted to bury Tiffy with. Just something only valuable to a mom because they just put on national news the layout of the house. So our fear was somebody was going to break in.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I
mean, there's all kinds of people who want to go visit and see the places, especially if they're local and they something's going on. They want to take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, it happens, and even OSBI told us that unfortunately happens quite often. And the other thing that's out there is that OSBI came in and kicked us off and we were hiding evidence. That was never the case. Friday and Saturday when OSBI got there was probably 15 family members and I want to say 6 or 7 cars.
Oh, wow.
When they stepped onto the scene, they were surprised we were there. They told us that they had been contacted and was asked to take over. And that now because the lead investigator was there, it is a crime scene. That none of us were in trouble. They wanted us to let them look what we had taken into the cars. And of course, the U-Haul was there. Every single person consented to having their car searched. They did not make them go get a search warrant. They took out everything in every car and truck and they videoed it and took pictures.
And at that point, when you guys were there, you were still under the impression that it was.
Yes, and it was. And like she said,
yeah.
It was a released crime scene until I stepped on here, but now it is an active crime scene. And I think another misgiving is I have information that other family members have, not because OSBI shared it, but because I discovered it and I turned it over. There is nothing I took from that house. Nothing. I didn't even drive there. There's nothing I discovered that wasn't witnessed by another family member. Those family members have just chose not to come forward. And I'm just going to respect that. The clothes, I wasn't the only one that saw them. I wasn't the only one that handled them. Somebody held the garbage bag open. It is not just something we pulled out of air. And there's a lot of evidence that's not out there. And I'm not going to share it yet because it's an active investigation.
Yep.
And so it's very frustrating because there is a lot of misinformation out there.
And I think a lot of the problem is like, for one, like Teresa said, that house should have been taped off from the day they found the bodies, and they should have immediately searched all that. And because they didn't really follow through with their job, everything got tainted and confusing.
Exactly. When we went in there, the copy of the search warrant, like there was nobody to hand it to, so they just leave a copy. They had rights to everything in that property. They could have went to that RV, all those semis. I'll have to pull up a copy of it because I actually took a picture of it. When I tell you there is nothing they could not have touched, there was nothing they could not have touched. They had.
That's what I'm saying. When we first started Googling the property and we started seeing all the freaking, like, whatever they're called, I don't know, the shit that goes on the back of a semi, the trailers, but they're like containers or whatever, all over the fucking property. It wasn't just inside the home. Who knows what the fuck was in those? Yeah. Cargo containers. The metal ones, The shit you see on trains and shit, too.
That original search warrant for May 1st, the very first one, gave them the right to do everything you could imagine, and they did none of it.
Yeah,
because
they had the right to search literally everything, and they didn't even bother because they were trying to say that the outside crime scene is separate from the inside crime scene, which I can't understand, because if they know they were assaulted, and if they mentioned in the press conference they felt like some of them were staged, like they were moved, so obviously the crime scene probably occurred somewhere else. You know what I mean?
It had to 100%, because this is kind of morbid to say, but we walked the property. We walked to where
that's what we said they were at. Like he usually went to 3 or 4 different locations often.
Most people do that when their loved one's in a car wreck.
I would want to know it. Like, I would want to see everything.
Yeah. And the thing is, too,
I just want to say again, I need to be putting this up. Hold on 1 second. Instead of the phone number. And I'll throw out a link if you want to hop up too. This is...
Too, like I said, all those empty semi-trailers, this always bothered me, that is listed in the original search warrant. I watched a family member walk that ground and search high and low. And I will tell y'all, on Saturday, their plan was me and a family member were going to go ahead of everybody else and remove the chains and all that, because Holly's father and her grandmother have heart conditions and nobody wanted them to see it. It was never to hide anything, to protect Holly. Our goal was we put everything in that family member's car that we thought could be used as evidence. Whatever we thought could, and we were going to turn it over to a lawyer or somebody, because we knew that this needed. So it was never our intention.
That was on Friday while it was still.
No, this was on Saturday, right before OSBI got there.
Before OSBI got there. Okay.
Yeah. So the original plan was for me and this family member to go take the restraints and all that that's by the bed. We were going to take all the restraints, any sex toys, drugs, alcohol, all that. We were going to remove it because that's not the image the grandmother or the father needed.
Yeah. And
they're not on social media. They had not heard or seen the news.
Yeah.
And so
the plan was to give it to somebody who would actually
lawyer. And ironically, like when I found Jesse's psychological evaluation and things like that, we were literally saying, oh my God, a lawyer's going to love this. I found every one of Jesse's transactions through his years in prison with his lawyer. I found every paper that I believe he had, because it was a ton. We had bagged that up.
It seems like he kept a lot of stuff. Like he saved a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yes. We bagged all that up. And the minute I walked in, I was so thankful, because now I didn't have to go look for an attorney or private investigator, because I wasn't turning it over to Henryetta. They didn't want any of the evidence the day before. So why was I thinking they were wanting it this day?
I would be relieved.
The difference between OSBI in the Henryetta and the county is night and day. OSBI was so respectful, so professional. I have full faith that they're going to figure out what went on, if anyone else is involved, and if any more victims were, they will know. There's no doubt in my mind that they are not going to stop digging in until they know.
Yeah, I think they will too. I think they'll definitely.
I think the lead investigator, I'm not going to say her name publicly because I don't know if she wants it out there, and she hasn't made. She's remarkable. I mean,
and I think that's why it's been so quiet here recently, because I really think that they really are doing their job. You know, I think they're right, and I think they're starting to realize like how deep this shit is, and that's why I'm saying I have a feeling it's going to be like Delphi, possibly even worse, just with all the extra shit that is, you know, is involved that you don't even see in Delphi.
She was strong and to the point, but she cared.
And that's what matters, is that they actually care about it, because they care, they'll do a good job.
And they would, like, I had questions like, I asked one investigator, why would they leave the house like that? Why would they leave this evidence? And, he's like, I can only guess that they figured they had him and they had the victims.
Yeah, but you would still think, like, especially because they said that it was staged, why wouldn't they go check everything? If it's staged, that's not where, I get that the bodies are there, but clearly. And
then he says that on national TV, but doesn't elaborate. So that leaves more speculation and more conspiracy, and like I said from the beginning, Mr. I follow evidence. I don't speculate. You left the evidence in the
right?
house. Yeah. I just felt like there was a treasure trove of information in that house.
From looking at the videos, not even being there, it was clear. It was like, you could tell a whole story with everything in there. Like,
and then, on Friday, we found 5 phones. I learned later that all those 5 phones belonged to Holly. The next day, a family member was like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? And they were like, look, and we found 3 more. I was like, don't touch them. Let's film where we've located them. And then those are the 3, unlike the 5 the day before, these 3 all turned on. So they weren't up there long.
Oh, wow.
They all powered up. None of them
were
made it
they
past
like, did it have to do with like her witch stuff? Like,
oh, the 5 cell phones? I think the 5 that we found were old because they were up in her closet.
So you found 5 phones
in her closet.
And was there like some in the floor?
I think those were found the day before without us through other things. Okay, and then the next day we found 3 more in Jesse's office / laundry room, and they were obviously belonged to a child or a young adult. One had like a teddy bear cover and lantern, and just from
Panda one, wasn't the Panda one of them?
Yes, we found that one. And the minute OSBI stepped on, they were probably there, I want to say, almost 2 hours before they could even come on the property because they didn't have a search warrant. And we were like, look, you don't need one. We were told, and they were like, no, we're going to wait. But we had already started telling them everything that we had found. And every single family, imagine they stepped on that scene and see all those family members, all those cars, and a U-Haul. Yeah. That had to be like, what the? And they said they were surprised to see us there. And they over and over told us, you're not in trouble. Y'all done nothing wrong. They interviewed every single one of us.
It's really the landlord's fault because it's the sheriff's office and the landlord's fault for trying to rush everybody out of there, which was just so, like, that made me so mad because, why can't you give like them at least a week or something to do the funerals and then clean out the house?
Well, originally when he called, the landlord called. Friday he called and said you have 3 days. He called on Wednesday and said, take your time, there's no hurry. Well, when the video aired all over showing the inside, the next day he called and said you got 3 days. We contacted the sheriff's department to see if that's legal, and they were like, they had a month lease. Rent wasn't paid.
Whoa. She just said the fucking landlord didn't call to have the shit taken out until he saw the video on News Nation.
Is there like some in the floor?
Wow.
I think those were found the day before without us through other things. Okay, and then the next day we found 3 more in Jesse's office / laundry room, and they were obviously belonged to a child or a young adult. You know, one had like a teddy bear cover and lantern, and just from
Panda one, wasn't the Panda one of them?
Yes, we found that one. And the minute OSBI stepped on, they were probably there, I want to say, almost 2 hours before they could even come on the property because they didn't have a search warrant. And we were like, look, you don't need one. We were told, and they were like, no, we're going to wait. But we had already started telling them everything that we had found. And every single family, I mean, imagine they stepped on that scene and see all those families.
He didn't call the families to tell them they had a couple days to get 2.5 days to get their shit out of the house until he saw the video of the walkthrough from the family on News Nation. That's when he called the families and said, you got until Monday, otherwise everything's going in the trash. He didn't want shit gone until he saw what the fuck was in there, and then he was like, yeah.
Family members, all those cars, and a U-Haul.
Yeah.
You know that had to be like, what the? And they said they were surprised to see us there. And they over and over told us, you're not in trouble. Y'all done nothing wrong. They interviewed every single one of us.
I mean, it's really the landlord's fault because it's the sheriff's office and the landlord's fault for trying to rush everybody out of there, which was just so, like, that made me so mad because, you know, like, why can't you give like them at least a week or something to do the funerals and then clean out the house?
Well, originally when he called, the landlord called. Friday he called and said you have 3 days. He called on Wednesday and said, take your time, there's no hurry. Well, when the video aired all over showing the inside, the next day he called and said you got 3 days. We contacted the sheriff's department to see if that's legal. And they were like, they had a month-to-month lease. Rent wasn't paid on the first. Yes, it's legal. So we had no choice to stop planning the funeral, get a U-Haul, figure out what to do. And we had no idea OSBI was going to show up. None.
How does that work if he's legally not allowed to rent it, though? I know he had them listed as like caretakers, but
how does that?
Yeah, and I just recently learned that Joe and Holly rented it first.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. I like when I was looking through stuff, he had that listed as his old address, and I didn't notice it the first time, but I didn't realize he even lived there first. Like,
I knew that on Christmas Eve, like that side of the family, they all do their Christmas on Christmas Eve. Joe and his girlfriend actually spent the night so that he would be there Christmas morning. So Joe and his girlfriend had slept over, and yeah. So
hey, Silky. Oh, you got to work tomorrow, don't you? Just wait. I'm going to be putting out some clips of the Henryetta Beth conversation here, starting on Monday. I'm going to be going through it tomorrow and figuring out highlights and stuff to put out. I'm not going to put the whole episode up there. Month to monthly, right, caretaker. Because yeah, it's crazy. You know what, Silky, this is, I have a whole bunch of stuff. Because I'd like to look up the home records. I'd like to look up the lease, the background of the landlord. We already went through the background of, oh man. I can't wait till I release some of those highlights from the episode with Henryetta Beth. A lot of information, Silky. I wish you were able to hop in with me and kind of help me on an offline StreamYard, go through the editing of the different highlights and stuff, because I'd really appreciate your opinion. I think you got to work tomorrow. Yeah, they contacted the families midday Friday, and told them they had until Monday. So really, they only had from Friday midday through Monday morning. She wants to know she's talking about the landlord's background, Pam. Yeah. I even want to look up, there's the Okmulgee 4, the episode on that. Henryetta Beth, I think she did mention some conversation that night, feeling that was possibly connected. I want to go through all the missing children since his release. I want to go through more of the brother. I feel like they were doing some of the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? When Brother Jesse got out. I want to look up the parents of the McFaddens. I want to know, like, what the hell took place there. There's a lot of stuff I want to explore. Yeah, we have the landlord's name. Yeah, we have the landlord's name. Pam, SRB, they have a lot of knowledge on this case too. Pam and SRB. He wasn't even supposed to, yeah, because he was in the process of getting a divorce, and it was part of the divorce paperwork. And so he wasn't legally able to rent the property, but he was legally able to have, he was able to legal to have caretakers. So. Legally able. It's very suspicious, that's for sure. It's the video where we had a conversation with Henryetta Beth last week. And there's some stuff that I can put out on YouTube. There's some stuff that I can't. That was part of the, and I appreciate Henryetta Beth for hopping up and being comfortable enough to be able to be up on panel and talk about a lot of the stuff she was talking about, you know, and kind of, and then we did talk about the case as well, because she feels, and I do as well, there's some kind of connections there, and I kind of went into some of my outfield theories with her and stuff. You know, so there's different things that I kind of have to go over, and so that's why I'm going to be making highlights. I'm going to keep the whole video, that'll always be private, but I am going to put out some highlights from the conversation, because there are some stuff that can be and needs to be shared. So ducking. Yeah, it was a very interesting conversation, and I appreciate her comfort being able to talk about all that. And so I'm just kind of reaching out to others to see if they would like to help me do an offline StreamYard where we sit back, kind of listen to the whole thing together, and you know, and then plus I get your guys' opinion too, because I do appreciate the teamwork when it comes to that, and your guys' thoughts, opinions as well. And so I feel like, you know, not doing a decision on my own, but doing it as a collective group and including others as well. So I'll be reaching out to some mods, hopefully tomorrow afternoon. If not, if there's a better time to do it, we'll do it whenever that happens, you know. But definitely, there's a lot of stuff. Silky, I'd love to be on. Next time, whenever we can do a show where I'm on, Silky, you know, you can ask me whatever. It's going to be one of those things, Silky, where it's going to be like the Stephen Smith case and how I covered that. It's there's a lot of stuff. I'll just say that. All right, we'll get back to this interview here.
So do you think that
And thank you all for being in here. I appreciate it.
the restraints were there for a while, or do you think they were?
I think so, but I also noticed this, like lifting up and moving things, the ones in Holly's bedroom, I fully believe those have been there a while. If you pushed the mattress all the way up against the wall and laid the pillows, you wouldn't have seen them.
So she's talking about the room that had the restraints next to the mattress that was on the floor, that was, bolted into the wall. So she's saying that was Holly's room. That was Holly's. And she thinks that has been there the whole time, but not all of the other ones.
See how low, if you look at the pictures, they're really low on the ground.
I honestly thought the bed was like on the floor.
The bed is on the floor.
Okay, so there's
it's probably, I would say probably a full size mattress. It wasn't big at all. And there's no bed frame, no headboard, no footboard. It was just on the floor. But if you butted the mattress all the way up to the wall, you could conceal that. You could, and set pillows up. You could conceal that if you wanted to, as low as it was. I can only speculate about the one on the island.
That's so weird too. Like to put a things on the counter, like why? I don't know.
But family members did say that they were there Christmas Eve, and now they did not see that. So, I don't see why they would lie. But the one thing that really bothered me when I walked in the house, I walked in by myself first. The godmom didn't enter. What bothered me is, and if you look at the videos, that mattress, that twin mattress in the living room, that bed is really made up. It's made up. There's a sheet, a top sheet, a quilt on it, a pillow. It's made. It's not just top on it.
And all the other ones were like a mess, right?
Holly's bed was tore up. None of the other beds were made, but it was just so odd to me. I don't know why that sticks out. It's maybe of no importance. Maybe one of the girls made it, but it just seems so odd to me.
Well, it seemed
especially
like
where the computers are located and other things.
Yeah. It seemed like the whole house was in disarray though, and then you just
very
have,
much,
one super nice, neat bed. It does.
The quilt folded, the pillow. I mean, and it was folded back, not like a teenage kid just tossed the sheet. I mean, my daughters used to try to get away with that, just toss blankets on. No, it was made, and if you go back and look at the videos, it was tucked in nicely. It was really made. And when nothing else in that house was organized, nothing but that
Someone
one.
Said maybe anticipation for the sleepover, like maybe because
or maybe one of the girls,
set it up for their friend.
But you also know I have other theories, but I really don't want to speculate on theories. But that's just the one thing that really stuck out to me.
How many bedrooms were there?
Okay, when you first come in, to the left was Holly and Jesse's bedroom. The next would have been Riley and Tiffy's room. And then still all of the bedrooms are on the left. And then at it is Holly and Jesse, then the bathroom, Tiffy and Riley, and then Michael James. And where Holly's office is just like a mud room, a porch. It's very small. And then across from that is, so when you walk in, across from the TV would be the bathroom. See, look at that bed. See?
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. And then Holly's was just like a mud room, like a porch entrance. It's very tiny.
Her office, right? Like that.
Yeah. And then Jesse's was laundry room / like one half was the laundry room and then one half was his office.
So
and then of course in the living room, there was those two computers, and then Holly had two computers in two computer screens. Let's say that, in his office. So there was 2, 4, 6 screens in the house, and then Michael James had a computer in his room.
Oh wow!
And also, see that water, or when you came in, that trough that I don't know if it holds water or feed.
With the ladder on it that just
Right, you see, yeah, the ladder. I was like, could y'all please go? I asked the OSBI, can y'all please just go in there and make sure nothing's in there? Because we literally were going to climb up in there before we left the property.
Yeah.
And like, we talked about going under the house, and I'm like, this is way above my pay grade. I'm like, I'm not crawling into the house.
So I remember all the warnings when he got out on Facebook. Oh, like when he got out of jail, people were like warning each other. That's crazy.
And me personally, okay, Jan called me because I always thought it was odd when all of a sudden Holly was no longer with Joe. Jan was like, yep, she's with this guy. And I was like, oh, how old is he? You know, normal questions. And she was like, he's this old. And I was like, well, how many children does he have? And she was like, he's never had children. And I was like, well, you know, how many times has he been married? And she was like, he's never been married. And I'm like, you don't see that as odd? Like, you got a man that's 40 years old, you know, near 40 years old, never had children, never had marriage. I'm like, seems to me he spent a lot of time in prison because it doesn't, you know, it's just rare that you find a man that didn't have a long-term relationship, no social media.
Yeah, no social media, yeah.
And I probably said that back in December, or might have been July when because Jan came to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
She called me one day and she was like, you're right. You were right all along about him. And I was like, what? And she goes, he was in prison for almost 20 years. He's a registered sex offender. And I'm like, no, he's not. So I Googled his name. A simple Google search before the crime, you would have known everything he's ever done. It popped up. Like, I was telling her, you know, he's still waiting on a trial. He's waiting on a jury trial for this crime. And all of it pops up way before the murders happened. I called Henryetta. See how low it is? Go back. Can you go back or pause it?
Yeah, hold on. So the one with the cow print, that was like with the...
That's Tippy. Okay. She loved cow print. That's Tippy. Notice none of the beds are made. Nothing in that room.
But this is Holly's bed, right?
No, that's Tippy. Yes, that's Holly's bed. Okay. See how low the bar is?
Oh, yeah, they're all the way down by it.
So, yeah, so I believe, in my opinion, they had been there a while, because you could have pushed that mattress all the way up and set pillows and made the bed and concealed it. Yeah. But there was no signs of like drilling or hammering. There was no shavings on the floor that led me to believe like he had just installed it.
So someone said in chat that Riley's dad said he saw pictures from her recent birthday and that the eye hook wasn't on the counter at that time. So.
And the family is also saying it wasn't there at Christmas. So the first time I ever walked in that house was on Thursday. So, you know, but I will tell you this, the locks on that chain, if you go back to the island, and I can send you a copy of it because I took a picture of it. Go back to the island where you see the hook.
This one right here.
Right there. See those locks, those brass locks?
Yeah.
I have the receipt where he bought those and the chains, not that chain, but a box of chains. I have the receipt where he went to Walmart and purchased them.
Oh, he actually bought chains?
Yep, he bought a box of chains. If it's him, because I told Henryetta, I was like, look, you've just hit pay dirt. I can send it to you, the picture of it. You now have a receipt 2 days before the murder. He was at Walmart, or somebody, you know what credit card he used, what lane he went to, what Walmart, what time. It should be so.
Pam, I believe it was 11 months. No, I've heard two different things. I've heard 11 months and I've heard like over a year. So if anybody knows the correct length of time, let me know. But I believed he moved into there. Now it's stated that he lived at his mother's also. So I'm not sure if he lived at his mom's for a week or 2 weeks or something. His brother was living there too. But if anybody knows the exact date, yeah, let us know in chat, please. Or in the comments section. I appreciate you guys hanging out.
So easy. Go make sure he did it. receipts. That way we know he acted alone.
I've heard
Or
different
get
different
anybody
amounts though.
shopping, you know.
They didn't even take the receipt. So I laid it back on the counter. I took a picture of it. And then the next day I gave that receipt to OSBI.
So here's what's confusing to me too is like they said there was like no defensive.
A lot of
wounds
this
or
is
anything.
confusing,
Like,
and it's,
wouldn't they have like marks?
you know, a lot of this is confusing because they want it that way. They want the fog over the truth. And so different stuff is going to come out, and that's what I appreciate about you guys. We all kind of like figure out, like tonight, I'm going to be going into this Google timeline of Koberger. Shit don't make sense. So let's make it make sense tonight.
But you think about all the hypodermic needles we found.
Oh yeah. Oh, my
What if
God.
they, you know, this is speculation.
Like drug. This is
yeah,
clearly
exactly.
all speculation.
This is speculation. Like I have not seen their toxicology or nothing, but I hope that they were drugged and they had no clue what was about to happen. That to me seems merciful in this situation. I mean, never thought I would.
Yeah, I'm so glad OSBI is in the case. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, my roommate's little puppy knocked my phone down.
So we thought the chains on the counter and like we thought they looked old though. Like
Those look old, and that's why I'm going to show you. I have a picture. It's a clear box on the receipt, and when we hang up, I'll send it so you can use it tomorrow and show everybody. It says brass locks, and those are obviously new locks on the counter.
Yeah.
And which would make sense because everyone said that wasn't there. But in the bedroom, we discovered a box.
Yeah, because when you see the receipt, you can see the receipt of at Walmart where the chains and the Brinks locks were purchased. Some of them.
See all the needles and stuff.
Yeah.
We discovered a clear box with new chains.
Oh, that weren't used?
Yeah. And when I took the USP code and lined it up with the receipt, it matched. But OSBI took the chains, I'm sure, because
Yeah, because he went there. Check this out, everybody. He went there the previous Wednesday and purchased these chains and locks. And the reason that some of these chains and locks weren't used and were still in the box is because those were meant for other victims that were invited to the slumber party. This shit was purchased the Wednesday before the weekend. The Wednesday, almost a week before he was supposed to show up for court. This shit was pre-planned.
I didn't go back the next day or the few days later when they cleared the house. I was like, I'm not going back.
Yeah. I don't
See the
blame you.
ring too in this picture that you have up there?
Right here.
The little silver ring. We have that. We at first I thought it was Holly's wedding ring, but it's not. It's not her wedding ring. And like the tube in the clear bottle, that goes in the back of a camel pack. I only know this because my husband's military and has a ton of.
Yeah,
but I
like
don't
a
know what the
hydration
blue,
pack.
Yeah, it goes in a camel pack. You know, you fill it with water in the tube. Yeah, but I have no clue what the blue spool was because the next day when we came, it was gone.
The blue spool, like the thing you open and close it with.
Yeah, it was gone, but the bag was still there. The ring was there. The tripod was gone.
Like OSBI took it?
No, it was gone before they got there.
That's weird.
Remember, I asked them to go in and take the drugs, and they didn't. I took a picture, and I have it the next day. All the bulk of the drugs were gone. The needles and the baggie of the white stuff, it was gone, and half the liquor. I'll send you those pictures. You can share those.
Half the liquor?
So was there more than one camera there, like webcam? Or was it only that one?
You see that one? There's also was one in the living room.
Yeah. Multiple fucking monitors for each computer. Multiple fucking computers. 8 fucking cell phones. She said some of them still turned on.
It was next to a bowl of popcorn. See that? Like
That makes me even more suspect about that nice bed and how it was like made up.
And then the handcuffs, of course, was gone. But even if you look down below, look at the chains hooked onto that desk.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Like, who was chained to that desk? And that's been there. That had been there for a while.
Wow.
Because at first I thought, was this part of a collar or something? But no, you can tell it's hooked up under his desk.
I wonder why her ring's there. Like, why?
Yeah, and from my understanding, what I've been told by family members, her wedding ring wasn't on her either. And she had a pretty wedding ring and a wedding band. That's never been recovered. And it was nowhere in the house to be found either.
Wow.
But my sister-in-law and brother were able to, they released the storage unit 2 days ago, I believe. Yeah, 2 days. I think 2 days ago they released it. So it could be in there, but I don't understand why her wedding ring would be there. But no, to my knowledge, the wedding ring has not been recovered. It was not given to us by the funeral home. And there were, if they had personal items on them, the funeral home had logged it. And I asked,
it wasn't in the log.
Huh?
It wasn't in the log for.
No, her wedding ring wasn't.
Wow.
Because I was excited thinking that was her wedding ring. And I showed it to her sister, and her sister said, that's not my sister's wedding ring. But so I was like, well, is it Holly's? And why is it off? And why was it in his office? And apparently that was a ring. Jan said that's a ring that the kids gave Holly for Mother's Day a few years ago that she always wore.
So I wonder if he took it off for
But if he was going to kill himself, was going to kill himself, why remember rings? And where's her wedding ring? And it may have popped up, and just why I haven't been, because I'm home now. So as of today, I don't know. But when I left, they still had not found her wedding ring.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did they go through the storage unit? Somebody asked.
Yes. I don't know what was removed. I do know, like I said, I believe it was 2 days ago. They contacted Jan and Michael and told them they can come get the contents out. So they've taken all the contents out of the storage unit. I'm not sure what OSBI took from there. I personally have not seen anything in the
storage unit.
Yeah. I just knew there was one.
Great
and
question, Pam.
when OSB got on the scene, they were sending an officer to go to it from the house.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully they didn't find anything. So that mudroom is small. I didn't even realize how small that was. Like, look how small. It's like a closet. Oh, I lost her again. Oh, I'll ask her when she comes back. Okay, she doesn't have the link. There's that hole in the door. Looks like somebody punched the both the doors have holes in it. 3. Hey.
Sorry, I put the dog out of my room.
Did it look like somebody punched these doors?
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah, those were there. Okay, if you go, can you pull up? I'm going to tell y'all where we found the next 3 phones the next day. Can you pull up his office where they discovered the phones? The Ivy's parents discovered their daughter's phones.
In the cabinets, I think they're showing.
Yeah, can you go in there and I'll show you how we discovered the 3 other phones the next day? Because I was like, how did we all miss these again? How many times? Look, see how he's taking a picture?
Yeah.
Literally where he took a picture right there. Watch this. We found 3 more phones up there.
Wow. And they didn't see that?
And I'll send you the video. What I think is there was 2 duffel bags up there, and to the far right, the family member who was much taller than all of us pulled it down and emptied everything in that duffel bag. And when he went to set the duffel bag back up there, that's when
They're probably like under the duffel bag.
Yeah, and I'll send you, well, they're pushed up against the wall. I'll send you the video because before we even touched them, I was like, don't touch them. You'll hear me in the video say, let's video record where we found them. And you'll even hear me say, okay, see that white bag and the green bag, right?
Is that the phone's right there? The white and
to the far against the wall. I wish I could send this to you now. Keep going over with your scroll. Over to the far end, towards the right. Over right to the far end of the counter. They were up against that, under that white thing.
Okay.
I just don't know how it was so weird to us because they're up against the lip. I'll give them to you, and I'll give you because they're my videos. I'll give you permission to air them for everybody.
Okay.
But he pulled all that down and emptied every one of those bags.
What was in the bags? Anything?
They were like turkeys or ducks, decoys.
Oh, decoys for like duck hunting and stuff.
Yeah, or I can't remember if they were turkeys or ducks, but they were some kind. I didn't really care because once I was told, what they were. Please don't. I'm not trying to mislead anyone. I just can't remember if they were turkeys or ducks.
So initially I was like, well, maybe the phone's like if he's on meth, which it looks like. It looks like that's what was all over the table. People who do meth often like collect stuff like electronics, for like stuff that most people would consider trash.
Absolutely. My heart goes out to Ivy's parents. I could not imagine walking into that and finding that. At least I had somewhat of a heads up because I seen this video. But people also have to remember, I got the opportunity to dig. They just did a surface look. And so I'm not trying to make things seem salacial. I found what I found because I was packing things in boxes. I was pulling things out. I think someone said, oh, she thinks she's a hero. No, I'm not a hero. But you know what? The truth is, I have several family members upset that I was so cooperative with OSBI. Oh, Tia's joining us. Hey, Tia.
Hi, how are you?
Love you. But
oh my God, stop it. I love you.
I have family members who have said they will never speak to me again. I'm dead. OSBI is aware of that. I'm not going to tell what family members. So, people that are out there saying, oh, she was trying to hide evidence to cover for Holly. No, I wasn't. Let me tell you, my children are all adopted from foster care. I've had numerous foster children. Protecting children is something I've done my entire adult life. My goal was, I don't believe Jesse acted alone. I don't have evidence, but there's some things that led me to believe that. So I wanted to make sure, hey, are we sure he acted alone? I don't know how a 150-pound man carried all the bodies. I'm just going to be realistic. He weighed 150.
I mean, honestly, I think you did everything right. You were concerned that there could be more victims and more perpetrators. And, I don't think you did anything wrong. And
there's, I have family members that don't trust police, and they were upset by this point. Whatever their reason is not it's none of my business. And I hope in time when their grief goes away that we can all talk. But I don't regret what I did. But I'm also not going to allow strangers on the internet to say I was hiding evidence. I didn't. No, that's not the truth at all.
I mean, you really had nothing to gain.
Absolutely not. I'm not going to get on here and trash Holly. I'm waiting till all the evidence has come out, regardless. And legally, there was nothing we could have done when we found out that he was a registered sex offender. And the county, I can't even say, Okobogie, whatever county, they are legally married. And in the state of Oklahoma, as long as he's legally married to her, he can reside in the home with those kids. So what were we supposed to do? Go kidnap the kids and get put in prison ourselves? Holly's an adult woman. She had custody of her children.
Yeah.
And, people are like, oh, you knew as family members. Well, it wasn't our job to sit outside that gate telling them through.
And not only that, but it really puts you in a difficult, like it puts the
And
family
it's
in a
true
difficult
because they were reaching out to LE to do the, the concerned welfare checks.
situation. Like, how are their kids gonna have friends if?
And he was at all the school events. He was at track meets, and I know this because Jan shared many pictures of her grandkids. She loves her grandkids. She loves her grandkids. So he was at everything. He was at their Thanksgiving in Arkansas. He left the state. So when you have a county sheriff's department telling you he can legally live in there, what more can you do?
Did he have friends? Was there ever another human besides him? And
I don't know. This has probably upset my family members for me to say this. I had to distance myself because of the situation my children were adopted out of. I just did not approve of it. We are not the first family that had a family member do something you didn't approve of. We won't be the last. Didn't mean we didn't love them or care for them, but Jessie was controlling. They never got to go to their grandmother's house. And these are kids that lived with their grandparents for 13 years with Holly and Joe. Something else most people don't know is we just recently found out that Joe and Holly claimed in their divorce not to have a child together.
We saw, yeah.
We learned that. What other people don't realize is we were told by Holly and Jessie that they got married December 24th. When the family went December 24th, 2022 for their Christmas, they had a wedding cake and told them they got married that day. We did not even realize that they had gotten married in May until after the murders.
Oh, and can I ask you a question to clear this up?
Absolutely.
People are like, all right, so remember when I first spoke with you, you told me that you thought that Jessie or that LaDonna gave Jessie a gun.
Oh, that was very speculation. That was family saying. That was secondhand information.
All right,
but there
was
is
like, she's lying because it was Holly's gun, and I was like,
at that point, all I could do was say what I was told.
Yeah.
And very much so. I was originally told that the gun came from, and which makes sense. He's a felon. You wouldn't imagine that a felon would have a gun or a gun in the home. His parents are ranchers. There's a tremendous amount of bows and stuff. I guess Michael James actually had just shot his first pig. They obviously bow hunted a lot. So when a family member told me the gun had to have come from LaDonna's house, it made sense to me. But then since with everybody else, we learned that it was legally purchased. Some family members still don't believe it.
That it was her gun.
Yeah, so that is why I'm very careful to say right now when I'm speculating or when I know the truth. I'm not trying to misguide. I'm not trying to cover anyone. But in the beginning, look how much we were lied to by Jessie and Holly.
Yeah, in the beginning, well, that's what I was saying. Like, everyone was making such a big deal out of it and was like, this is before the investigation even happened. You guys were kind of just like putting together the pieces as best you can.
Because at one time, they were having problems with wild hogs. And remind me, I want to tell you something else. So at one time, they had a rifle, and that is what led family members to believe the rifle came from his parents because, well, obviously it came from somewhere because there was no rifle discovered. And that's what they were using to shoot the hogs, which makes sense. You don't use a 9mm to kill hogs. So we just assumed that he used a shotgun also because they needed dental records for Tiffany and Michael. So once again, that led us to believe, our theory that he had used the rifle that he had gotten. So it was not an intentional lie or a misleading or misguiding to anyone.
I just wanted to make sure I asked you that because I don't want Yeah, I don't want people like I want to answer the questions I've been seeing where people are like, she said this and she said that.
No,
and
and
it wasn't
but they were using a rifle to kill. And a lot of people also don't realize this. And I think I've shared this with both of you ladies. LaDonna called Jan and said that she had gone to the house on Sunday to drop off a quilt that she had made for Holly. And when she got there, Holly and the kids were gone. So now
Did she say what time that was on Sunday?
I'd have to ask her. So that leads us to believe, because remember we were all told he hid the truck. He told a neighbor he was hiding it for a family member, which would make sense because his mom came to the property. But yet when we got to the house, we couldn't find a quilt anywhere. We were all wanting to find that so we could actually put her there for sure.
And you never found the quilt.
But we couldn't find a quilt unless it's the one on that bed. But it didn't look new to me, like something someone had just made. No.
I wonder if she would have like put it on the bed and made it like that, like if she brought it over.
Yeah, but that's what I originally thought. But when I was looking at the quilt, it was not new, and it was not freshly washed or anything that would even lead me to believe that it had been made in the past month or two.
I wonder if the reason she really went over there is because she got that text from him, saying like,
well, how about calling the police, Mom?
Yeah, I'd be really concerned if I showed up after he said that and nobody was there.
And and she had told Jen that when everybody was just missing, she said he was suicidal last night.
Oh my God.
He told me he wasn't going back to jail. And Jan was like, and you didn't think to call Holly or anybody or even the police? I mean, as a mother myself, if my child told me I'm not going back to jail, you better believe I'm calling the sheriff. I'm going to put you on a 5150 hold.
Same.
But
even my kid, you know what I mean?
Because regardless, you want your child alive.
Yeah.
But there is one thing I do want to clear up. The New York Post had said that I claimed to have found bones. I'd never said that. I had never, ever, ever said I saw any bones. The only bones, and I have a picture of it, is there was cow bones all throughout the property, but there's cattle out there. And I took a few pictures of that, but I've never even told anyone. So I asked the New York Post to recant that because first of all, I've never even spoke to the New York Post. And second of all, I never said I found bones on the property, so I don't even know where that came from. So if anyone's ever wondering that, I'm assuming that's what the only bones I saw were cow, and they're on the porch. There's video of them, but they were also in the yard. I can send you pictures because I took them, but there's cattle everywhere. I guess that wouldn't be something strange. But I never said there was human bones discovered.
I have a quick
wondering if they
question for you when you have a second.
Because when you said phones earlier, I thought you said bones for a minute. And then I
maybe that's, because I never seen bones, no human bones. I did see what I'm assuming is cattle. There was some on the refrigerator on the porch. There was some out in the yard. There were several skull, bones. But yeah, maybe they misunderstood. They told me they're going to recant it. I have the email, so I can also send that to you. But I have never claimed to find human bones or anything. But I do have pictures of some, and I just thought it was eerie. I don't know why I took a picture at that point. Like I said, we were trying to document anything for lawyers because we knew, like I said, we did not know OSBI was coming.
Yeah.
We did not know. In fact, when they pulled up, we thought, oh, here we go again. That blanket, that's what we're hoping. And that's that comment, whoever posted that, we did tell the OSBI that I don't know if Jan shared because all of our interviews were done separate. None of us were interviewed together.
Gotcha.
None of us. And, we said, hey, me and another family member, because after I was there for 12 hours, me and another family member who rode together. We were the last to be let go, told we could be left. So that whole point of the police and OSBI coming on and telling me, oh, that's not true. We couldn't leave. We had to walk through the house and show them where we found everything.
Gotcha.
But, so we almost said, how do we find 3 more phones after the ones they discovered? It was almost like it felt like someone came in there and placed them, because I was like, how did we miss this yesterday? And then I see the sheriff's department taking videos and pictures. How did they miss them?
Yeah,
But
I
they
thought
were-
initially maybe he collected the phones because he was on meth. But if they found some in the floorboards, that's
Yeah.
definitely shady. And now, oh my
And
god,
Tia, I'll send you a copy of the video of where we found the 3 phones the Saturday.
Oh, thank you, Lynn.
And also the receipt for Walmart.
Okay.
Because like you could, where the brass is on those chains, those are new. The keys were there. The chains are old, but there's a box of chains and you can look at the UPS code. I think I have a picture of it. It matches the Walmart receipt. I literally begged Henryetta to go to Walmart. And then when I gave it to OSBI, I was like, please go to Walmart and make sure, it was him that purchased it.
yeah, get the.
Did
And
they
think of
ever
the needle
have they
there,
released any
think of the-
videos? Have they gone to Walmart? Do we know?
OSBI is in contact with us, but they don't share anything with us.
Yeah.
They may have I've been contacted a few times and they've asked me some things or to clarify because I was very honest with them. I couldn't remember some of the evidence was back in Westville because the Friday night we took all back before the memorial. I had only had 1 hour of sleep. So I'm like, please, I'm not trying to mislead you, but it could be Westville or it could be, in one of the cars so there's been times that they've contacted me and I've been pretty honest with Kate about that or talked to her. But we've all asked them questions and they just tell you at this time they can't answer. It's still an ongoing investigation. So they're not telling us information. And it may seem like I have a little bit more information, but it's only because I was in the house digging a lot longer.
Right.
And
what did that house? I'm curious about something, and
Okay.
It's the dumbest question. So please,
No.
What did the house exactly smell like?
What did it
smell like? Because one of the things that was it Mrs. Boykin said when she was videotaping that there was a smell to the house. It smelled really bad, and I was
I'm glad you asked that. Okay, the Friday, the first day we went in there, you could smell the cat litter box, of course. It smelled it didn't smell
just
clean,
fresh.
but and I kept telling them, but it had an odd odor. And I'm not saying it smelled like a dead body or anything like that, but it had an odd odor. And I kept trying to talk myself out of it, like, Lynn, this is a crime scene, but nobody, allegedly, we've been told nobody was harmed. And there was no visual shots of somebody being shot. Well, the next day, one of the family members, and I kept smelling stronger. And it didn't smell like a dead body or dead animal. It just very odd odor. And one of the family members said, what is that smell? It smells like somebody's dead in here. And I'm like, you smell it. Oh my, I was just so happy that I wasn't the only one. But the difference between Friday and Saturday was a huge difference. And I will tell you, the room that we smelt it the strongest is where I found the shorts and the underwear.
Oh, no,
and once again, I want to say this. I was
didn't
not
wanna
the
lead you
only
to that, but
family
that was my
member
second
that
question.
found those. There was 2 of us in the room. The one family member called someone else in because I was hysterical. That person looked and then called 2 more family members in. So I'm not the only one that's seen it. I didn't create it.
I know you didn't.
Nobody else, nobody outside the people that were in that room knew about it because we didn't run tell other family members.
Of course.
But we did bag it. And when we bagged it, I set it on top of the black bookshelf in Holly's office, the first one. But I think that was the smell because it was the strongest in his room.
That's what
And
I was
you said
wondering.
it looked like there was other fluids on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had since learned, I don't know. Like the shorts, it was very clear. I mean, we're all females. We know what blood and clothes looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It was the wet underwear and the smell was horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you got to remember, we were sitting in and with boxes packing things up. That's why we found more things, is because we got the opportunity to dig.
Right. because you were actually doing their job for them. I know.
Yeah, and like I've said to you, Tia and Kate, there's going to be a day where I will sit and be transparent, but we haven't really got into that with this therapist yet.
Yeah.
And there's just things that I'm just not comfortable sharing right now. One, to respect the victims, but two, this is an investigation that's going on, and I don't want to put myself in harm's way. If this is something bigger, I'm not,
No. Did you find a trauma therapist?
Yes, I did.
Thank
and
God.
she is absolutely wonderful.
That was my biggest concern, was like, I didn't want you going like any old Tom, Dick, or Harry. I wanted you to find a trauma therapist.
Yeah. My soon to be ex-husband, but he's a ranger, and I contacted the VA hospital where he goes, and just because I know that those people, and so they were so wonderful because I have TRICARE, and they were like, well, we can't see you here, but we'll definitely find you one. And so within 24 hours, I had one. And even when I was in Oklahoma, she called, and I think Kate, she called when I was driving home talking to you too.
Okay.
I think I let you go to talk to her for a little bit because they were really concerned about me driving home.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't mind answering questions, but I just want everyone to know I don't speak. I'm not the representative for that side of the family. I did not grow up with the Mayo family. Michael and I Holly's dad had the same father, but my stepdad adopted me. That's why my last name was never Mayo. My mother did everything to keep me and my brother away from this side of the family. And it drove a big wedge and resentment because I was like, why? That's a big family. There's a bunch of us. And I got it. Finally, I think I stuck in my head why my mom didn't want me there. It just, but we didn't grow up in the same home or close together. So I'm by no means, I can only talk about what I've experienced in my story. I don't want to speculate on anyone else's.
Well,
that's understandable.
And that's why I'm not sharing the family members' names. That I just keep saying family members because they haven't spoke out, and it's not my job to say who they were or, they can do it if they ever want to or not. But it is true. There's several family members that will not speak to me because I was very cooperative with OSD. Yeah.
Well, you may have saved future children. In the meantime, we don't know.
And that's what I was trying to say. My whole point was
did the right thing. Yeah,
I did the right thing.
Wanted to make sure that he acted alone. I wanted to make sure there's no other victims. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure, as much as I can, because I don't know how the dark web works, but I just wanted to make sure that this was not videoed and broadcast for somebody. But mostly just wanted to make sure that there was no more victims, and if he didn't act alone, and don't think it did not. Everything we collected, we would literally say to each other, if there is somebody else, none of this is going to be admissible in court. None of it. Nothing that we found in that home, a defense attorney is going to have thrown out because they're going to say, "Oh, y'all planted it. The cops didn't find."
But it's not y'all, like, your fault. It's the fault of the sheriff's office for not immediately taking it over.
Begged them to take those Velcro restraints. I begged the SBI. They took them. They were like, "Where are them?" Yeah, they took everything. They were. I mean, when I tell you, they listened to us, they cared, and even if it was probably not important, or maybe we thought it was important, they never said, "Oh, well, that's of no use to us." They were like, "Oh, well, thank you." And I'm sure there's things that we thought was evidence that isn't.
Did OSPI seem like upset that they they didn't take anything?
I think they were disappointed. I think that they realized they were coming in, for lack of better words, to a shit show. I can't imagine what they thought of when they stepped out of their vehicles, because they pulled up four of them. The lead investigator, like I said, I'm not going to share her name because she hasn't publicly shared it. She was so professional. She was like, "Nobody here is in trouble, but as of now, nothing can leave the property without us going through it. It is now an active crime scene." Now, the minute I stepped foot on this property, it became an active crime scene.
Like, they were trying to make it like it was because it was protocol, but I just don't understand.
They
Because,
never
like,
led us to believe that. They told us that they had been contacted earlier in the day, but I'm not even going to release that information. I do know why and who.
I think the DA. Well, I heard the DA contacted them and told them.
I'm not going to say if that's true or not,
Okay.
but they were so nice. They said, we realized that this has been released and y'all were told to get this stuff, but we have to put a halt to it now. They were so kind to us, so respectful, and not everybody was nice to them. They were yelled at and cussed, and everybody grieves different. Everyone was frustrated. It was like, how many times are y'all going to release this crime scene and then take it back?
Yeah. I'd be frustrated too.
My family's not wealthy, and they were paying $400 a day for a U-Haul. He was like, how long are you going to keep this U-Haul? Because do I look like somebody that can afford $400 every day?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But like I said, everyone consented to their vehicles. No one demanded a search warrant. They just pulled everything out, took pictures and videos. I don't know, and I can't speak on everybody's vehicle because I wasn't watching. I don't know if they kept anything or not. I just know that in the vehicle I came in, we had stored what we thought a lawyer or a private investigator would want, and they took all of that. They took everything.
Okay, let me interrupt you for 1 second because I want to make sure that everybody in the back row hears what you say on this question. I'm going to ask you the dumbest question, and you're going to answer it as clearly as you can.
Okay.
People in the back row aren't twisted, but you gave everything you received over to OSBI.
Everything. I'm talking everything. Everything. Okay. There is nothing. I came in someone else's personal vehicle. Like I said, I probably handed over things that they're looking at me like but
no, I mean, you did everything you were. And then, well, like I said, you did everything.
But I did not leave. In fact, it's funny you said that because the only thing when we were packing up, I pulled my brother aside and I said, there is nothing in this house, but there was a picture of him that was hanging in Holly's office. And it just was a really great picture. And I said, if you don't want to give it to me, you can make a copy. I'm like, but can I have this picture? And he was like, absolutely. And I had said that. I didn't even take it that night. I took nothing, but there is nothing. And like I said before, when on Friday, when those 5 cell phones were found, I told Mr. Webster that I do not want to give them to Henryetta Police Department. I want to give them to your lawyer or your private investigator. His very own wife said, I agree with her. And I said, can you call your lawyer and ask your lawyer what we should do? He said, absolutely. I said, can I pray on this? Because I'm very big in prayer. I try to walk by faith always.
And this is the phones, right?
This was like the 5 phones on Friday.
All right, and you walked out and you went up to Justin and his wife and you were like,
I want
no, Ray, this is the Henryetta horror. The stuff that took place in Oklahoma. The S offender that was released and unalived himself, his wife, his 3 children, and 2 of their friends. Yeah, Oklahoma. And we'll be, you know what, actually, I'll go ahead and pause it here. I do want to share. I'll be getting ready to do my Idaho 4 show tonight here in a little bit. I had it set for 6:30 Central. I think I might set it for, I don't know, we'll see when I get done with the show. But I'm thinking it's in between 6:30, 6:45, 7, in between there. I have it set for 6:30 right now. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to hit that. I might have to push it to 6:45 just to give you guys an update on that. We'll be talking a lot of Idaho 4. We'll be trying to figure out this Google timeline. The PCA, different screenshots that I took of timestamps when it comes to the route there and back. So we're going to be going through that primarily. Some updates, different conversations. I've definitely like to explore different theories you guys have if you'd like to hop up. But we'll be going into Idaho for quite a bit tonight, and then we'll end it with some games. We'll end it with a few games since we didn't play too many since last week, and the games kind of didn't work out that great last week. I don't know, something was weird, but we'll definitely play some games tonight. Yeah, her 3 children, yes. It's crazy, Duncan. A lot of it just don't make sense. So, yeah, got tomorrow and Monday, so I'll be chilling on YouTube, doing multiple shows here, just kind of hanging out on the weekend. So I'll definitely be doing part 2 of this call. We're going to finish up the rest of this, or call, panel, whatever. We'll be finishing up the rest of this on the next episode. There is a couple kind of things that came across the news wire today as we were kind of discussing this. So I'm not saying it's related, but I'm saying it's possible. These are things that took place close by. So I want to share these real quick. Just 2, things that stuck out to me. And then I'll go ahead and end the show for the Henryetta horror episode, and then I'll get ready to do my Idaho for tonight. So go ahead and hit that notification now if you want to, and I'll see you back tonight. I'd definitely love to have your opinions and your thoughts when it comes to this Google timeline. We gotta figure this out tonight. All right, so I'm gonna switch to some other. Definitely go sub and like and share Kate Does Crime and the Decipher podcast if you're not subbed and shared already. And let me share these couple things that came across as we've been doing the show. So this took place in Norman. This is right there by Oklahoma City. And something else took place in Oklahoma City in a part called Dell City. 2 very interesting things that just came across the news wire.
We begin tonight with some breaking developments in the case of a Norman man arrested and charged with several counts, including lewd acts with a child. Now, we told you about 45-year-old Christopher Forcade last night, but new information has been released. Oklahoma DHS has confirmed with KOCO that Forcade was a foster parent to multiple children since April of 2019. They released this statement with us today saying in part, quote, Mr. Forcade became a foster parent in April 2019. We are fully cooperating and jointly investigating with law enforcement, and the children placed with Mr. Forcade were immediately removed upon learning of these allegations. The allegations were originally reported to police by a caller claiming a caregiver was performing lewd acts on a child in December of last year. Police just got an arrest warrant, Thursday. He's now facing 4 complaints of lewd acts and 2 complaints for possession of child pornography. KOCO 5 has also learned Forcade worked for a group called Fostering Futures, a nonprofit that works to give financial and emotional help to kids in the child welfare system. The organization told us he worked in a warehouse and didn't have day-to-day access to the people they served. But if anyone has any information on this case, Norman Police want you to reach out to their detectives at 405-366-5449. Again, 405-366-5449.
405-366-5449. Here's the next update. And I'll probably do part 2 tomorrow afternoon. This is
new information about 2 badly decomposed bodies found a couple of weeks ago in a Dell City home near Southeast 15th and Sunny Lane. Police say they believe it's a case of murder-suicide involving 2 brothers. They're not releasing names while they try to locate family. They believe one brother was a caretaker for his handicapped brother. They say the handicapped brother was shot and the other brother died from a drug overdose. New information about 2...
A drug overdose. Who knows? Maybe that might have been, one of those. I don't know. That's crazy. That could have been one of those things where the caregiver just cared so much about this person. And said, okay, I'll go ahead and do this for you, and I don't know. But that other video, definitely interesting. Norman, close by. Yeah, definitely a sub to Decipher podcast, sub to Kate Does Crime. They do tremendous work, and wish I could do as good as them when it comes to the coverage of the case and the knowledge. I can only try. I don't understand why this only has 3,775. It went up too since we started the show with it. I don't get it. It needs a hell of a lot more signatures. Please sign this. It just takes a couple minutes. You don't even have to donate if you don't want to, or if you can't. We understand the economy's fucked. But you can share it to a social platform or something. Yeah, Norman, very, very close. We'll see. I'll keep you all updated. I keep check. I always check as the show goes. It's one of my tasks that I do when I do my live show. I'm always looking when it comes to updates for any of the cases. And if I do see updates for other topics like Idaho 4, we'll be getting into that stuff. And I even try and check what's going on live, if we got a break to live coverage about something. So I appreciate you guys. Without you, I couldn't do the job that I do. Yeah, that's right, Ray. That's what I'm thinking. It was just something breaking that came across, and I figured we'd check it out. But that video, the first one that we checked out here at the end, we'll see. We'll see what's up, man. Like I said, this shit is crazy. Yeah, we'll be getting into part 2 of the call, or whatever you want to call it. And is it going to let me or what? Here, let me just get rid of that one. So yeah, definitely sign if you haven't signed yet. Share it. If there's, groups on Facebook or something, share it to a group on Facebook, something. I don't understand why there's only 3,775 signatures. It just doesn't make sense to me. But all right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end this show. I'll be back here shortly for Idaho 4 episode, going into the timeline, the PCA, different timestamps. You just got to figure this out. Some don't make no damn sense, and let's figure it out. We heard different things from Court TV. Different things from different areas. Shit just doesn't make sense. I don't know. So I want to make it make sense. And so I'm going to take tonight to try and make it make some kind of sense. And if we can't make any kind of sense out of it, well, then we'll just show how we can't make any kind of sense out of it and put our work up there on YouTube. So I'd definitely love to have your thoughts and opinions and your theories and all that shit tonight here in a little bit. Understand it's a holiday weekend. Thank you for hanging out. And if you're able to here in a little bit, please do. Appreciate you. See you in a little bit. Peaceful and positive evening.
you.